Hey guys, how you doing? It's James JT at the movies. I'm ready now, just about to pop out to go to the cinema to see Christopher Nolan's new movie, Oppenheimer. I can't bloody wait for this. I'm so excited. I'm going with Laura, and we're going to go meet up with Phil, and I'm just so excited to see this. If anybody's been around on the channel since its inception, pun intended, you'll know that one of the very first videos I ever put on this channel was me and Phil and a guest appearance from Laura doing a Christopher Nolan marathon in the run-up to Dunkirk being released. And then we also did a follow-up video when Tenet came out as well, and we've talked about The Dark Knight and things like that, all very early on in the channel, so not some of my best work, but it's going to be really cool to sort of go and do a vlog on Nolan's newest movie, and I'm really excited to go and do that. So let's go meet up with Phil and go find Laura, and you'll see us now at the cinema. So we've arrived at the cinema.
Yeah.
I have a Phil and I have a Laura.
Hello.
So we're here again. We seem to live at this cinema of late, don't we? And it always seems to be us three.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oppenheimer. Other than the basic plot, I don't know anything about it. I've read some headline reviews that are saying it's a career best for Nolan and that he's back on form. Have you read anything, Phil?
Not at all, to be honest. I've done my best to avoid it.
Fair, Laura?
Yeah, same here. Tried to avoid it.
Yeah. Any hopes, any expectations, any Nolanisms you want to see?
I'm just happy to see Cillian Murphy again.
Yeah.
Like, and the usual kind of like cast. Obviously Matt Damon's in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. These kind of films, everybody and their mother seems to be in it.
Yeah, because everybody wants to work with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
On something better than Tenet.
I just want to hear him say the famous line, "I have become deaf." I know that sounds morbid, but that's one of his most famous lines.
No, Luke.
Death, destroyer of worlds.
I am your father. No, I'm really looking forward to this, so we'll see you in a short while.
Yeah.
So, we've just come out of Oppenheimer. Phil, start with you. What did you think, mate?
My brain's kind of still catching up.
Yeah.
Initial reaction, like, absolutely loved it. I think it's definitely a return to form for Nolan. It's definitely better than Tenet.
Certainly was, yeah.
We can all agree there.
You can really see him in this movie. You know, you can see his style in a really big way. But yeah, I'm kind of still catching up.
Absolutely, Laura. Any thoughts?
I think I'm in the similar opinion to Phil. I think I need to just digest it a bit more. It was really good, and I think it was a really good telling of the story of Oppenheimer, because a lot of that was accurate. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. For me, I think, yeah, like what you said, Phil, a return to form for Nolan.
Absolutely.
Tenet was a real missed opportunity, and this felt more like classic Christopher Nolan. I thought there was some really sort of award-worthy performances in this, maybe even some career-defining ones.
100%. It's definitely some Oscars, isn't it?
At points. I tell you, Josh Hartnett was a standout for me. Obviously Cillian Murphy in the lead as Oppenheimer was great.
Robert Downey was great.
Yeah, Robert Downey was great. Emily Blunt and Florence Pugh as the sort of the female leads of the film did incredibly well. And lots of characters in the supporting cast were great, but yeah, in particular the three fellas, Robert Downey and obviously Cillian and Josh Hartnett, I thought were really good as well. Matt Damon was quite sort of well cast in it as well,
cool.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was one of those scenes where, like, his very first scene, when you first see him, like, that they're just born to be on screen together. I mean, Cillian Murphy, I'd love to see them work together.
Yeah, it was really inspired casting, and you were sort of saying when we came out of it, there were moments where you needed a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like he brought that to the table with this.
Yeah.
Because he sort of, it wasn't comic relief, was he? But he was certainly less serious than a lot of the other characters involved in it and things like that.
Yeah.
So
brought a bit of sarcasm to the equation.
yeah, absolutely. Sarcasm was a really good way. I'll be honest, I thought it was a little overlong. I thought it dragged a bit in the middle for me. I think they could have chopped 20 minutes, half an hour out of that, and it had still had the same impact for me. Or maybe to your point, Phil, better use the time.
I think I'll have to watch it again, because I think one of the things with Nolan's movies that you get quite a lot is that there's more substance in the bits that you don't like. Because when it all sort of culminates at the end of the story, like, there's more substance in the bits that you don't notice or you think could be, like, you could just lose, and then by the time you get to the end, if you don't know any of that stuff, you maybe wouldn't understand what was happening. So it's like, Yeah, I think I'd have to watch it again before I made that call. But
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know if I agree with you on that, because the story of Oppenheimer is one that's very twisty and turny. There's a hell of a lot of stuff that's clearly been dug out. Christopher Nolan, I think, has definitely done his research on this, and I think that 20 minutes you're on about, I think, was put in rather well.
my thing with it was tricky to follow the thread at times. It could have been like there could have been a few more clues as to what was going on with the timelines.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. No, it was a bit hard to follow at times,
Yeah.
but the story of Oppenheimer is one that is hard to follow unless you know.
Oh yeah, no.
Definitely, unless you're in there with the history.
Yeah.
I just think, without sort of going too far into spoiler territory, there was some more sort of like expositional scenes towards the end where they're in a boardroom of sorts, sort of almost debriefing and doing a bit of an inquiry. And I feel like there could have been more time spent there. And then there was a bit of an epilogue at the end where, what you said, Phil, it sort of wraps it all up and we get a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of whatever.
Yeah.
And it probably would have been nice to have had a bit more to that. I didn't mind the sort of the backwards and forwards time bit, because it's quite Nolan, so I kind of
It's very
expected
Nolan,
it.
Yeah.
But I think
I
he
thought
was probably most on the nose with this than he's ever been with any of his films, because it was like the fusion and fission bit, wasn't it? And he titled each bit so that you knew that the black and white sequences were one and the colour
Yeah.
sequences were another.
I actually completely missed that.
Did you?
Yeah, totally missed it. I thought it was just just like a stylistic little title card thing to explain what was going on in those particular scenes. So I'm definitely gonna have to watch it again with that in mind.
Well, there we are. Yeah, I just think that there were just little bits they could have shaved out here and there. You know, sort of a minute here, a couple of minutes there, or a repeat of a scene here, or sort of like they used there was a bit in it where they sort of show him having a panic attack, and they visualise that by having him in the middle of a nuclear blast.
That was awesome.
But they used it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And it kind of lost its impact when they started doing it again. It was like, no, save it for the one moment and do it. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
But to wrap it up, I would say this is definitely a return to form for Chris Nolan. There's some absolutely career-defining, award-worthy performances in it. It's a film that needs to be seen on the big screen. We've not even touched on how beautiful this thing looks, and it does look absolutely stunning.
And it sounds incredible.
Sounds incredible as well.
It's very Nolan.
Yeah.
Everything's very loud.
As you'll know on this channel, I'm not a 4K guy, but it'll be a 4K pickup for me. Day one will this, and I will be looking forward to watching it again. I think personally, I would give this probably an 8 out of 10. I think
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 8.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
8 out of 10. So there we go.
Might be a 9 tomorrow when I've had a bit of time to think about it.
Well, for me, it's going to be an 8 out of 10. So there we are, folks. Thanks very much for watching. You have to leave your thoughts down below. Be mindful of spoilers, of course, if you've seen the film. Drop the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please think about subscribing. I'd love to keep you around for more videos, and we will see you all later.